Don't do that. Leave it, take care of it later on the computer, and then just totally reformat your whole disk. Okay? That's the best practice. So if you're in there and you're looking through your menu, can you find a place where it talks about JPEG quality or compression? It should be there's like, I have all these little things across the top of mine, and there's just a bunch of them, and each one of them has a whole set of menus under it, and they might be all in different places. I have a place to set my file numbering so it can be continuous, or continuous means like 1 to 999, and then it flips over and starts again. If you don't set it to that, then you set it, well, I don't know what the alternative is, let me see. An auto reset or a manual reset. An auto reset means every time you put the thing in there reformatted, it starts over again. So, right, a new set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets very complicated if you don't rename your files on your computer. So you're going to have, 50 or 60 of the same file name. And they might be stored in different folders because the way you set it up, if it comes through your camera, it saves them in a folder by the date. But you start moving those images around and you didn't change the file name, all of a sudden you've got 4 of them. And I've had this happen in the past. It will happen. I don't care who you are, how good you think you are. I'll have 4 images and I'm trying to find one and I find the same file name over and over, but they're all different images. And I'm just totally frustrated that I did that to myself. So there's a whole back end of information that we haven't even started to talk about in terms of transferring, locating them on your computer in folders and hard drives and naming them and organizing them and backing them up and all kinds of stuff. But if you want to do pictures, you want to do good pictures and you enjoy it, it's part of the package. It just comes with it, okay? When I first started, I spent a lot of time in the darkroom, my hands in soup, all right? And fixering developers and all kinds of stuff. And I don't do that anymore. I've traded all that development time in the darkroom with chemicals with development time at a computer. Same thing, there's actually more work than there was before. Because now I have to deal with metadata. Anybody know what metadata is? No. If you send me a picture, I can tell you what camera you took it with. I can tell you when day you took it, what time you took it. I can tell you what the f-stop was, the shutter speed was, whether you used a flash or not. It's all in the metadata. But guess what? I can also put in there, I can add your name, I can put where it was taken, just anything you want to put in there about it can all be added. That's all called metadata. It's information that's stored along with the image information. All right? It's all bits and zeros and ones. So all this stuff can go in there with it. Why is that important? Because later on, what if I want to find an image that I took of David Ditch at the RCARS field day, 2007? I can type that information into my program, and if I put the information in there correctly in my metadata, bingo, there it is. That's like when I brought up this information. Okay. This is our egg photo library. I did a search for RCARS, and I came up with 101 images of RCARS. Okay? These all have RCAR written in the metadata. There are probably some other ways. This one was wood identification, or wood with wood. If I put any of those words in there for a search, these would pop up. Because I put the information in the metadata, it's all there. So that's the value of metadata. That's a whole other step after you've already taken the picture and you're working on your computers. And you can do those with JPEGs or raw images, either one. Oh, what I was going to get back to if you're taking JPEGs and then you go in there and manipulate them and do all these things I was talking about that I can do with my RAW, then you have to resave that JPEG again. And when you do that, you've now created a new generation of the JPEG. And when you save the original JPEG, you took the picture and saved the JPEG, it threw away 20%. Well, guess what? You resave the JPEG, it does the same process again, so now you threw away another 20%. And that's in the best case scenario. If you did all those things I told you to do, the best quality, the least amount of compression, etc. So now you've thrown away that much more information. So you don't want to do that very many times, or you're going to have a picture that's only good for a web page, and barely that. Make sense? So we have to be careful what we do with our images after we've taken them, to preserve as much quality as we can. But the good news is, you can take some awesome pictures with these cameras. And you're in control. Remember, you're smarter than the camera is. It's just that the camera sometimes is a roadblock to getting there. So you have to have your manual so you can figure out how to be smarter than the camera is and overcome all those obstacles. But when you do, then you take some really cool stuff. Really cool. Questions? Comments?
What would you recommend about red eye? Is there anything technical you can play with?
The toughest thing with red eye is, do you have any control at all of the room light? Like, depending where I am in this room, it's darker in some place than others. So if I can kind of have them in a little more light in the room and not real dark, that will help. Some people still just in the semi-dim rooms, their eye pupils just open wide open. Do you understand what red eye is? Red eye is in a low light situation, your pupils open up, and you just happen to shoot your flash straight into their eyeballs, and you're reading the back of their eye, and it's all red blood vessels back there. That's what you're seeing, is just a whole gob of red blood vessels, and it comes out looking like demons. So, the cool thing is some of the new software, actually some of the cameras will fix that for you on the spot. And that's all right. Some of the software like that I have, I can go in and fix them one at a time, or someone will do it automatic. There's all kinds of stuff that does that. Again, you have to watch though. If you're doing JPEGs and have to resave your JPEGs, it's another generation. So you got to kind of understand how everything works. So you make as little change to your images as you can.
Say if you take a JPEG and you copied it,
Okay?
and did you lose anything in just making that copy?
You're not supposed to.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is,
there-
if you just copy the JPEG, then make your changes to it, and then you still have your original.
You should always do that. Or if you make changes to your original, you don't save it with the same file name. You give it, arcars1, arcars2, arcars3, or ABC, or something, some change in the file name so that you maintain the original. The quickest, the best way, that's probably the best practice, is to make a copy of it first, and then that forces you to come up with a new name. And then you've got it, and then you can make the change to it and save it. The important thing is to always do it the same way all the time. Because if I do it one way one time and one way the other time, sooner or later I'm going to cross them up and I'm going to lose something. I did. I mean, not will, I did. I saw this cool quote, I don't know if I can remember it, and it has to do with backing up things and hard drives and everything. The statement was, there are two kinds of people in the world. Those that have had a hard drive crash, and those that will. Think about it. You've either had a hard drive crash, or you will. No in between. It's just like, it's going to happen. If you deal with computers, it's going to happen. Plan for it. That was the bottom line. Enjoy your cameras, but use your manual to go through the stuff that I passed out, go through that list of the settings, and know where those settings are in your camera and how to set them, and set them to the best quality that you can get. Save as many pixels as possible, and then you can work from that to create images that you'll have for memories, scrapbooks, posters, web pages, Facebook, whatever. Yep.
Steve, you are going to teach 3 more
I'm
classes.
going to basically teach the stuff we've talked about. The first session, we're going to spend a lot of time dealing with our cameras, getting used to them. Hopefully, I mean, it's all not set down, but we'll actually do some shooting with them to get used to this, doing those settings together. We'll work on our settings. We'll actually take some pictures, if we're talking about, good pictures. And hopefully we'll set up some little staging of something and take some pictures and talk about, what we want to take and what we don't, what's in it, what's not, and how to light it, how to stand people, and just a lot of stuff like that. We'll kind of go more in depth into taking a good picture.
And as soon as we have that date, we have all your registration information. We'll be back in contact with you. And so really, tonight was just a teaser.
Yeah.
Go home, do your homework.
The second one then, we'll go more into, let's see, we'll talk more about the controls of the picture, maybe even doing some manipulation of the picture. I use Adobe Lightroom. There's other possible, programs you can do it with, but I'll show you kind of what's possible, and we can talk about that. And then the third one, we're going to deal with organization. Now that has to do with transferring pictures, where we put them, what we call them, what kind of folder structure do we use, how do we back them up, what's a good way to copy them so we don't lose anything, just kind of a lot of stuff like that. And we'll kind of backtrack. Each of these sessions will kind of be building, so we can backtrack to the session before it if we need to pick up any loose ends. People coming in, we'll get a smattering. The people that have been to all of them will kind of get a compilation of everything thrown in together. It's kind of all of the, well, I wish we all gone through 2/3 of the whole thing that we're going to talk about. We talked about the first part about the camera stuff, we talked about pictures, and kind of a whole process, and that's a lot of information to cover. So we're going to go through that again. If you're coming back, I expect you to already know this, so you can help me teach the other people, okay? And you should be able to figure this out between now and then. I think it's about 4 weeks from now, I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere. I thought we already had those dates. That's what I was going to ask you about, if it's on your calendar and that, so we'll get those worked out, make sure that they're there, and we'll make sure everybody knows ahead of time. So I enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. If you're kind of in the fog about some of it, don't worry about it. In the middle of the night, the lights, bulb's going to come on, you're going to sit and go, whoa, yeah. All right? I hope so. All right, thank you very much.
Run home. You want to move fast?
How's Sarah?
Usually does. Unless somebody has a really slow start. But the
The competition's a little lower. How many more can we get rid of? I've been running all day.
No, you don't want to do that.
Well, you don't want it. It's a coveted trophy. I understand.
Okay, so you go ahead and set. You say you disable that. If you don't want to take a picture, if you don't have a card in there, because you'll do what John back here was talking about. You take a whole bunch of pictures, you got nothing.
Yeah,